Welcome to Gamereactor TV. We're here in Paris to look at all the latest titles from Ubisoft. Check it out.
At Mantell, our mission is making a difference. The Mantell difference.
Haze is Free Radical's next-gen first-person shooter. So first-person shooters is what we do really, really well. And we've been scoring away like crazy making this game. And I think we're bringing a lot of really new things to the table with it. If you're a Free Radical fanboy and you're a big fan of Time Splitters Second Sight, I think the thing you'll recognise with Haze is when you pick it up, it's easy to play. I mean, that's a real thing for me. The first thing you want to make happen when someone's playing a game is for them to forget that they're trying to learn how to do something new. We're bringing some new gameplay, some new exciting features here. Not a gun as a new weapon, but actually a pharmaceutical as a new weapon in Haze. And also a really great story, because stories really, really matter to us. I mean, Time Splitters, okay, some people said didn't really have much of a story, but Future Perfect had quite a fun story. Second Sight was us really pushing the boat out on storytelling. This is going and saying, shooters usually have pretty boring stories, so let's make a shooter with an interesting story. If you're going to be a soldier in a war, tell a soldier's story and don't tell a story about how great the war was. The more recent stuff is about people. It's not about machines and weapons and things. So this is one guy, Shane Carpenter, spending 3 days in a war, and he's a guy who wants to do the right thing, and that means awkward choices for him. And as events unfold, it's really very, very interesting. Haze has this 4-player co-op for playing through the story, which is great. Allows you to revisit the story, allows you to play online with your friends in a more kind of structured environment, other than just kind of like episodic death matches or team skirmishes and stuff like that. The troopers in Haze use this substance Nectar. It's a performance enhancer that gives them a lot of cool abilities. It also has a flip side, where if you take too much Nectar or your Nectar administration goes wrong, the world turns upside down for you, and you start to lose control over who you're shooting at. Now, one of the places that can happen is if a trooper takes a hit on the back where the Nectar administrator is. So you imagine your co-op, suddenly friendly fire isn't just, hey, can you stop shooting me in the back? It's like, hey, you shot me in the back and now I'm just going to go completely ballistic, and then turn around and everyone turns to each other. So, and then how do you sort that out? Well, maybe the best thing to do is to kind of bitch slap the guy down, say, hey, okay, right, bang, down on the floor for you until you calm down and get back up again. We're toying with taking control away from the players sometimes, having consequences, having something which is a great weapon, but also when it goes wrong or it's used against you, it becomes a weakness. As far as the player is concerned, Nectar is their extra weapon that they have over and above the technology that they carry with them in their guns and things. You use Nectar to make it easier to play the game. You use it to be able to see enemies, to predict what enemies are going to do, to make you better at shooting the enemies, and to be able to make you melee them and send them flying across the world. In the context of the game, we start to look at what maybe using Nectar all the time isn't without its downside. I mean, most things, most mood-altering chemicals, they have downsides to them. So we investigate that in the story. We also investigate it in the gameplay, in that on a moment-to-moment basis, your Nectar can go badly wrong for you, and it can leave you kind of all out of sync with the world around you and kind of fighting to get into control. So it's a story element, and it's a very fundamental gameplay element. You start the game in the jungle. One of the early missions is in the jungle. I think one of the things there, we actually were trying to establish our Vietnam credentials almost, and say, this is one of those kind of games. There was definitely a thing that we wanted to not be just doing a bland shooter. And yeah, the premise of Haze is a science fiction premise. It's set in the near future. We didn't want to go into lasers and all that kind of stuff. We wanted to also keep it very visceral. So it's like, it's all ballistic weapons. Bullet impacts are happening all around you all the time. Now, in terms of the science fiction, that also allowed us to step outside doing any historical simulation, so we could make our own story. And yes, there is somewhat of a commentary in it, because Mantell, although it's a very over-the-top concept, you don't have to look very far in the real world to see that a lot of military action around the world, parts of it are subcontracted out. It may just be the supply chain, some of the manufacturing and stuff, but who knows where it could go in the future. And then also the applications of technology. So making people better fighting machines. Now, a big thing for the military in the current climate is The weak point is the soldier. All the technology is the thing that is reliable, or it doesn't have any kind of... there's no downside when the technology gets damaged. The soldiers are the thing that they want to improve now. So how do you improve the soldiers? And using performance enhancers to do that seems like an obvious thing. In fact, there are rumours that it's been done already, even as early as Vietnam days.
Join us and fight the good fight.